What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to Rant episode 23, a historic podcast. We specialize in everything historic with a little splash of Commander as well. We are the Dorks. My name is Michael Apollo, and not only have we made it through 2020, but I've won the fucking card game last week. I am so excited that I finally won one, and it just sucks because our next co-host wasn't here to see it. Hoshi has been on a 2-week long binge, right? We had to me and Drunken Dork actually had to call Anon or whatever you call it or whatever.
Al-Anon, yeah.
Yeah, Al-Anon, and we had to get an intervention for this guy. This guy is going nuts. Don't be fooled by the Glenfiddich bottle behind him. It is probably Popov vodka, something like gasoline toilet wine. So we have Hoshi. Say what's up, Hoshi.
What's up, guys? Don't tell me how to live my life.
YOLO, YOLO. And his wife actually caught him pleasuring himself to Oko hentai, and so we're gonna have to have a weird discussion about that one. I mean, I thought you hated Oko. It turns out it's quite the opposite. We have Drunken Dork.
Ooh, Oko.
No. Dude, I mean, he has those low-rise skinny jeans, and he wears no shirt and Eldraine land, and that just got you, I guess, huh?
Yeah, my wife's like, oh, Michael, not the Oko costume cosplay again. Come on, please. Thought we were past this.
First car, now Oko. What is wrong with you?
Hey, I have my fetishes, man.
So that is it. That is the we are the Mana Dorks, and this is Mana Rant episode 23, the last episode of the season. This is the end of season 1. 2020 is done. By the time you've seen this, 2021, we're gonna have future cars, cyberpunk, everything's gonna be changed in a couple days. No, but we're super excited to have this last season with you guys. So if you guys don't know, and this is your first time seeing the show, the way our show works is we actually follow the phases of Magic. So we have our Untap, Upkeep, Draw, Main Phase, Combat, Main Phase 2, End Step, Cleanup, and then finally our Discard. And just like you start every game of Magic, you always start with your Untap step, and that's where we untap a drink of our choice, talk about what we're drinking tonight. So let's untap her up, boys.
Yeah.
I actually have nothing to untap. I have a drink that's quite different than what I normally have. It is coffee, Kahlua. See, I'm not a connoisseur, quote unquote, like Hoshi. Yeah, so okay, I put Kahlua, right? And then I put some rum chata in there and some eggnog. So it's quite a fucking clusterfuck of liquors with coffee as the base, I guess. So I should be pretty active and feeling pretty good. It's nice and warm too. So let's start off with Drunken. What are you drinking this week?
So I am drinking a German beer straight from Germany here. It's not even in English. It's Helles Eschlenferla lager beer. And I am drinking it in my brand new... my wife for Christmas bought me 5 Magic the Gathering pint glasses, and so
that's right.
Yeah, it's etched in here with the swamp. Obviously the best color in Magic the Gathering. So yeah, for sure.
Nice.
But yeah,
I like it.
Sweet, dude. And Hoshi, Popov or?
Oh man, no! I just opened this bottle, so I've had this for 8 months or something like that. I think. My girlfriend got it for my birthday, and it's a 18-year Glenfiddich, and Whoa. I've just been waiting. And I never have occasions to open stuff, so I was like, it's New Year's, 2020 is over. Let's start 2021 on the right foot with some damn good scotch. So I felt like opening this thing up, and this is let's see. So it's an 18-year. And it's got flavors of baked apple with cinnamon spices, complemented by a robust oak notes that have deepened and mellowed over time. And boy, is this stuff smooth. If you haven't tried scotch before, I suggest starting with an 18-year because it is so smooth and delicious. Yeah, because if you try the bad stuff, it's kind of rough. So
yeah,
this is the way to go. This is
and you're drinking it right here. You're drinking it neat again?
Like a man should. Yeah, that's right.
Ugh, yikes. Well, that is our Untap. Cheers, boys. Let's have a good final episode and a great way to end the fuckery that is 2020. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So that is our Untap step. Next, we go into our Upkeep, which is the Reddit Rant. Now, in pre-production, I forgot if we even discussed this. Was I doing Reddit Rant, or are you going to be doing it?
So, this is Reddit Rant. All right. So, Magic is a game that invokes a lot of strong emotions in people. Some of those players like to scream their frustration into the void of the internet. Each week, I go down a rabbit hole of searching through social media to find the craziest person that I can. And this week, I think, Apollo has found someone crazier than the person that I found. So I think you should take Reddit Rant this week, since you were ranting about this ranter. So
I was. All right. So yeah, normally this is Hoshi's Reddit rants, but this week I found something that's I think a little enticing. So I'm not going to say the name because it seems like this is this person's actual name and not a handle. This is via Facebook and not Reddit. So don't want to put anyone on blast like that. But the post is, I'm just posting this in another group as well to gauge outlook and see if I'm just crazy. How annoying is this when you sufficiently shuffle your library for 2 minutes and look for a simple cut, and then she does the same thing for 3 minutes? Also, what will WotC do when they bring back paper Magic tournaments? So, he posts this GIF of someone shuffling, and the idea of his rant complaining here is in tournaments, sanctioned tournaments, you shuffle your deck, and it's actually within the rules delivered by WotC that your opponent can, just tap it, cut it, shuffle it themselves. There's nothing wrong with it, but this person seems to be quite annoyed by it. So what do you guys think about this? Like people touching your decks and shuffling. I mean, what do you guys think? Hoshi.
I think so. I mean, when especially if you're at a tournament or something, I mean, it's completely legal. You're allowed to do that, right? There has been so much cheating in Magic over the years that, someone wants to shuffle your deck. 3 minutes, I think, is a little long to be shuffling your deck. I don't know if he's exaggerating. It probably felt like 3 minutes to this dude because steam was coming out of his ears, apparently. So he was just like, oh, I can't believe it. It's probably like 10 seconds. But 3 minutes would be absurd, I feel like. That's a lot of card fondling. But hey, if they want to grab my deck and quickly shuffle it up instead of just doing the cut, whatever, dude, I don't care. You can touch the cards. I do think it's weird when people grab your cards and look at it and stuff, when you're already playing the game. I like it if they say, hey, what does that card do or something? And then you could be like, oh, here, look, or I'll read it to you or something. I feel weird when people reach over the table and grab my card and look at it, So, I don't know. That feels a little invasive, but if they're going to shuffle my deck, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah,
I definitely agree. It is invasive. Unfortunately, it is public information or whatever according to the rules. So it's But Drunken, what do you think about this rant?
So I'm of two minds. First, this is part of Magic, like you said. If someone wants to shuffle your deck, there are lousy cheaters out there. And maybe you're not one, but unfortunately they are there and they've existed for all of Magic's eternity. I am of two minds though, because when you end up playing more expensive formats, say Vintage, where your deck might be $15,000, right? If someone picks up my deck and starts shuffling it, and I don't feel comfortable, well, one, I shouldn't be playing that format, right? And I shouldn't be playing in a store. No. But two, I think there is a courtesy thing at that point, right? Just as long as the person picks it up and they're gentle and they're like, hey, you don't mind if I do this, right? Something like that. Because at that point, it is a $15,000. That's a lot of money, right? That's more than what a lot of people's cars are worth. So yeah, I'm of two minds, but yeah, I always think when you go into a store and you play Magic, you should expect this. Me and Apollo especially, we played a lot of competitive paper Magic, back in our 20s. And that it was just normal, right? Like it didn't matter if it was an FNM or if it was like an actual like tournament. People would do that. At like the spot that me and Apollo played was really competitive for FNM, so people did that all the time. And the few times I played FNMs at Card Kingdom, where there's like 100 people that show up for an FNM, it is super ultra competitive. And like even when you're playing Modern or something, people just pick up your deck, even though it's like over $1,000 and start shuffling it. So yeah, you know what? You need to calm the F down.
Yeah, no, and you know what? I completely agree. That was a point I wanted to bring up. Don't do bridge shuffling. Like, don't be an ass. This isn't fucking poker. Don't bridge shuffle my cards. I've never had that happen to me in paper tournaments, but obviously the reason is for cheating, right? There's assholes out here. If anyone's get mad at anyone, we should be mad at the cheaters. They ruin everything for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reason why people do this. People weave their decks, and just because they're like assholes, dude. Like you just suck at Magic is what you're saying. Like you literally don't have the skills to beat me. You have to cheat, you have to weave. So, but yeah, don't do bridge shuffling. Do the side corner shuffling where you're not getting the corners in, and you're pushing the opponent's deck like gently. Don't be an ass. Like,
yeah, and my one gripe about this is when people do this in Commander, I think it is a little over. It's a little like we're playing fucking Commander, man. This isn't like you can do what you want, right? But yeah, that one does kind of bother me. It's like I'm not cheating, and if someone is ever cheating at Commander, their life is obviously in such a fucking terrible place that let them fucking have it, right? Like if that's what they need to win at, and they need to win, like cheat to win, like whatever, let them have it. But yeah, that is my one time where I'm like, I won't say anything still, but it's still I'm kind of like, are you seriously? You want to shuffle my deck right now? We're playing fucking Commander, man. Weird.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like, I think like the most would be just cutting the deck in half between you guys. When we play Commander, or when me and Drunken used to test the Gauntlet for Standard back to Return to Ravnica. I mean, sure, like sweat comes down my forehead when I had a full playset of Voice of Resurgence and my Selesnya aggro deck, and that was like one of the most expensive cards in Return to Ravnica at the time. But again, everyone I've ever faced never was very aggressive with my cards. Yeah. They seem to be very calm with that. But if you're getting upset because someone's touching your things, I think there's a better to be upset at,
Oh, and one more quick thing. And if the problem's COVID, don't go to a shop. That's the only thing I have to say about that.
Oh yeah.
If you don't want people touching your stuff, just don't go anywhere. That's the unfortunate reality of it.
Go back to spell table. Yeah. Like. So that is our Reddit rant. And in the words of Hoshi, nameless anonymous, you are a crazy psycho and we love you. So that is our Upkeep, our Reddit rants. Now we'll go into our draw phase, and that's what's really quickly what Magic formats we've been playing this week. So I'll turn it back over to Hoshi. What have you been doing this week?
So this week, I've been compiling a list of the historic combos that are out there, and specifically infinite combos, because there's a lot. I mean, combo is a very ambiguous word in Magic, right? Like two cards together could be a combo, I guess, to a lot of people. But an infinite combo, like where it just loops until basically one person is dead, or you can stop it somehow or something, right? So I was looking, and I've made a post about it. So I got a bunch of reactions from people. It's cool. And I've found, I think, about 21 infinite combos in historic right now, which is crazy. There's so many that I didn't know about that are actually in there. Ones with planeswalkers where you can make like infinite Saheelis and stuff. There's some really cool stuff out there. Yeah. So and then I was looking at it, and I lined up all the color combos, right? And then I tried to see how many I could shove into one deck. And I think I was able to fit 5 into an Orzhov deck right now. I have 5 combos, and 4 of them are infinite combos. So it's pretty sweet.
That sounds like a glass cannon if I've ever heard one.
You know what? It's actually great because the only combo that's not an infinite combo in the deck is the Solemnity 9 lives combo. And that one alone wins me the most games, because like the second they come down, there's so many decks like goblins where they're just like GG. I literally can do nothing against that. Yeah, so then you get that down, and then you just have enough time to form your infinite combo. Even if someone does have a way around it, it slows them down to the point to where you can get to your other combo, and then man, it's so great just going infinite on somebody. So it's pretty good. It's not that bad actually. I need to take it into rank this week. Yeah, and see how it does.
I love combo, man. And that's cool that you found so many in historic alone. Drunken. Yeah, no, I'm down. Well, maybe next week we'll talk more about combos, because I'm interested to like dive into that a little bit more. Drunken, what have you been doing this week?
First, I want to say if we could take Hoshi from 2019 or early 2020 and have that Hoshi talk to Hoshi today, I think we could have a combat phase right there. The two Hoshis just talking about combo.
That's true.
Yeah, but this week I've been playing nothing but historic, pretty much. I wanted to touch on, so last week we were talking about playing Abzan, right, in historic, and so I scoured the internet for a good Abzan deck in historic, and it's not tier 1 by any means, but in best of 1 it's still pretty good. It's like a +1/+1 counter deck where like you're playing I forget what the cards are, but you're playing these cards that like essentially whenever you put a counter on something, you get another counter on it. And it like your highest curve is 4, and that is a collected company. So you're playing all these 1 through 3 drops that add counters to your other creatures, and then you collected company to get them out, and I don't know, it goes off and it wins. Like I can beat Gruul, like not every time, but I can beat it because it can go over the top of Gruul, which feels actually really good because your creatures are a little bit more powerful. It doesn't do what Abzan normally does with like spot removal and stuff, but it's a super fun deck to play, and I've pretty much been playing nothing but that. And then also my wife and I were playing Jumpstart last night, which is a blast, and I opened another one of those the mill guy, it's the second one I've opened from there.
Bruvac?
Yeah, Bruvac. Yeah. And another Craterhoof Behemoth. Opened both of those.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. And then after that, my wife and I played. I have some legacy decks that I built, like not $15,000. They're like $100 or $200 just of cards I have laying around. Like I have an elf one and an artifact one, and we played some of that, and it's super fun.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, for myself, I haven't really been playing that much. Mostly theory crafting. Kaldheim is fast approaching as we get into January. And although the internet, there's a lot of trolls out there who are just crying about the new mechanics, I think I'm really digging Kaldheim personally. I'm liking that new mechanic that's like kind of like a pseudo morph where you like exile the card instead, and then you can later cast it. Yeah, foretell. That's it. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And so for me, like I'm really digging it. As we talked for about 2 episodes now, and what Drunken has just stated, Abzan I think could be a thing when Kaldheim is fully released. I don't know if Sultai can be defeated, but I think that's probably the best chance. Either that or Esper. I'm really hoping Esper control. So I'm still like kind of theory crafting those 2 decks, and then just, whatever, getting my gold and just saving up for packs for when Kaldheim comes out. But playing competitively,
cool,
not so much. So that is our draw phase, and that is going to enter us into our main phase. And main phase, well, as we stated a few times, 2020 is over. Historic has lasted an entire year, a little over a year, but this is the year in review for Historic. You might think like, oh, that's not really much to talk about. Historic's only been out a year. Not much has happened, but actually when we researched, a lot has happened in Historic. Actually, a lot has happened for this format, more so than a lot of other formats, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of formats kind of just stay where they are, and then years will go by and one card will shake it up. A lot has happened to Historic. So we're just going to kind of go through the entire year and then talk about some key things. So, I just want to start off with 2019 in June was Historic's conception. That's when Wizards has introduced the idea of Historic, and it's an official introduction to Arena was actually November 2019. And then December 2019, which will lead us through the full year, we got the Anthology Set 1. 3 cards that I thought were pretty key there were Phyrexian Arena, Sarah Ascendant, and Burning Tree Emissary. You guys have any opinions about these cards? Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, those are all powerhouses.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Burning Tree, absolutely, which led to its eventual suspension and then unsuspension later on in the year, doing some dancing there. So January 2020, Historic actually became more aware to the public. The public became more aware of the events that were happening with Historic, but every once in a while they would throw up these queues. And if you enabled game modes, you're able to actually see Historic as an event. So that's when the public started to become more aware of Historic as a whole. March, we saw the Anthology Set 2. 3 cards that we have picked from there would be Waste Not, which you see typically in like Rakdos or just straight mono black discard. Goblin Ruin Blaster, which is in, surprise, surprise, goblins. Maelstrom Pulse, which is a really great sideboard card and a main deck card for best of 1 for, it could be green black, but mostly for like Sultai or anything running those 2 colors. And then we saw the Anthology Set 3, which we saw Ulamog, surprise, surprise, super powerful card, but with the inclusion of the Kaladesh cards utilizing energy, we're able to cheat Ulamog out. So that's where we saw like a huge spike in its appearance. We saw Phyrexian Obliterator, which was just a great, huge defensive wall for anything playing black. That card is so good and extremely difficult to deal with if you're an aggressive or mid-range strategy that doesn't have removal. And then finally, Tempered Steel, which was a very amazing inclusion for artifacts and white in general. And then also in May, we saw the official Historic ranked queue. That's when Historic was officially in. We can go in, play it competitively, best of 1, best of 3. No longer do we have to wait for events. It can also add up to our dailies, give us our coins and our, 15 wins, weekly wins, all that good stuff. And now some things that added into Historic. Obviously, there's the anthologies. But what's cool about Historic that differentiate that is different.
Nice.
Still with that. No big words. Which is different than Pioneer is Pioneer just collects everything that is out of standard. Same thing for Modern and so on and so forth. But which makes Historic really unique is that it gets unique things like the Historic anthologies 1 through 3. But also we got Jumpstart, which was a delayed release in Arena in July of 2020 this year. And we also got Amonkhet Remastered and Kaladesh Remastered. The Amonkhet was released in August and November was Kaladesh. And what's cool about these is they weren't the actual full sets. Wizards decided to pick and choose what they wanted from these sets to make it a more friendly, draftable single format while also adding to the Historic format and get rid of some cards that they saw were problematic for Standards Pass, which I think was a great idea because it completely makes this format unique in every which way. So 2020 as a whole, from 2019 to this point in time, what do you guys think of Historic? Hoshi, let's turn it to you.
I think it's great. They have done a pretty good job of keeping out a lot of the really problematic cards that are in the format, or at least going backwards through it. I read some long post today about some guy that was going to be my Reddit rant, where he pretty much hated the last set that came out. The
Kaladesh?
The Kaladesh. He hated that. He thought it was too low power because there's so much power already in Historic, and I don't know. I've realized so many people have so many different opinions about Historic and where they want it to go, right? So I really think that now in this new year, hopefully upcoming, they start giving us a little more direction on what they're actually trying to do with the format. Because it's been kind of like just a cobbled together thing, right? Like where they didn't even have a queue for it for a while, and then people just were like, hey, we want to play with our old cards, and they were like, fine, we'll give you a rank thing, here's some weird anthology, we'll just throw some cards at you guys, maybe you'll play it. And then it started becoming really popular, mainly because they fucked up standard so bad. People were like, I don't want to play this is awful. So they went to historic, which is great. I mean, it's so cool that there's you can play with all these cards that you have. But it feels very chaotic over the last year. When you're looking at the other sets like standard and pioneer and all those things, it's very like, right, it seems like Wizards kind of has an idea of what they're doing with those sets, where historic is, we still don't really know what they're trying to do with it, right? They haven't really made it clear to us, I don't think. And we did a Reddit rant about one guy that went full on ape shit about it. Sticks, the one conjurer.
Yeah.
He wrote a giant thing and was demanding very detailed information about it. And I get what he was saying at a lot of it. But I mean, it's the best format on Arena, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What's weird is they didn't really handle this too well initially. And you could be an argument to say that they're not really handling it well now. But I think the fog is kind of clearing in their head now. Like you said, I really hope that we get some clear direction and answers to what they're doing with this format. But definitely in the beginning, they mishandled this. Because the big thing was, it's well, what are you complaining about? You have standard. And it's no. See, unlike paper, I actually, where I actually have the cards, I can go to my buddy's house or I can play on Spell Table with actual physical cards. On a digital format, so I just can't. So all that money I put in is just in your pockets now. So I don't get it. So where's my assets, right? And that was the big problem that a lot of people had, was that they put in a lot of money into what was standard, Ixalan, sorry, Dominaria, Ixalan, all that, and then they'll rotate it out, and then then we started seeing the big block shifts, right, where things were rotating out kind of quickly, and it's well, what do we? So we just can't play those fucking cards, or thank you. Now we just get a random queue or an event that we have to pay for to use those cards again. Oh, thank you. Oh, now it's just an event that's always free, but it's you determine when we can play it. Oh, geez, thank you. They completely mishandled it in the beginning. So they should have kind of been a little privy to the fact that this is a really beloved format, and I think the best by far on Arena, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Drunken, year in review for you. What do you think of Historic as a whole?
Yeah, so I agree with that. Yeah, in the beginning, it was really mishandled. It would have been nice if they would have just had this as a queue always, where you can accomplish your dailies and also rank up, right? I really like that you can do all of that now. They definitely didn't handle it. I definitely agree also with Hoshi. There's no direction, really. The only direction they have is backwards going towards Pioneer. But besides that, I think it's really cool. I think this year was great. I think it's really interesting because this is the first digital-only format, right? Whereas every other format is paper. And then they also have digital versions on MTGO or Arena, of course, if you're playing standard. So this is the first digital only format. And they really showcase that with Jumpstart and then these historic anthology sets. And I think it's really fun that because it really shakes it up, right? It adds a different power level and a different type of play style to historic that you can't get in any other format. And like we've discussed before, it's already more powerful than Pioneer. It doesn't have as deep of a card pool, but the cards that it has been given from something like Jumpstart just makes it feel like a lot of fun. So I think this year was great. Yeah, I think Jumpstart was huge. It was probably my favorite thing this year. I loved what it contributed to Arena. I think to Historic. I think it's great. I even though Muxus is a very controversial card, I still think it's cool. I really like Craterhoof. I really like a lot of this stuff that we've gotten. Now, going forward, like I said, I just hope they do something more with it being a digital only format. Maybe do card changes. right? Like nobody has to care if a card gets altered, right? Like if the rules text on it gets changed, because if it's only in one format, it's not affecting anyone and it's not as confusing. I feel like you don't have to go look at your cards at home and be like, oh wait, but this means this. No, because it's digital only. They can do whatever the fuck they want, right? Like, so I really want them to explore this type of like thing. You know, I think it would be really cool. I want them to continue the momentum they have right now with Historic. They're doing really good with bannings and stuff. I feel like, you know, not having, maybe Uro needs to come out. Yeah, Uro definitely needs to get out of here, I think. But besides that, like I think it's a really healthy format, especially best of one. I mean, you're constantly running across, even now I've run across decks I've never seen, and they win. Yeah. And I play ranked. I play ranked Q too. So, you know, that has to say something.
And yeah, with that, like I completely agree. The thing, I think the big key takeaway here is people have complained. They have complained about the latter half of Historic being that Amonkhet and definitely Kaladesh didn't really add a lot to Historic. But you got to think of it like, you know, you got to think of it like a big pot pie, right? Like you can't just add in all the spices. We got some seriously powerful gas already from the anthologies and from Magic's past. But you know, you got to add in a little bit at a time. Yeah, it does suck. It does suck seeing like Sultai like constantly like dominating and Uro just always being there. But the fact that like Drunken and Hoshi have stated many times in this show, there's a lot of fringe decks out there. And all they need is maybe a couple pieces, and they can be pushed to the forefront. And maybe going backwards as we go backwards into Historic and the future of future anthology sets could push those decks forwards, like Azorius Flyers, or you know, like something I've talked about, Gruul Static Pummeler, or really any fringe deck, a combo deck. Any one of the 21 combos could be more of a thing. You know, like combo at one point in time, especially in modern, was actually very common archetype. You know, it wasn't like a fringe thing. Living End was not necessarily very popular with the players, but it was up there. It destroyed every deck. It could very easily destroy every deck until, you know, they start siding in like Graveyard Hate. But yeah, it's little spices, you know, just be patient. This is just 1 year we've had for this format. And I think in the age of the internet, 1 year seems like an extremely long time. And yeah, you know, it is like with memes and stuff, but in a format as a whole, it's got to grow. It's got to simmer. We got to let some time come in. Like, don't worry, you know, we'll see the Orzovs. We'll see like all the beloved guilds that we love and other mid ranges, and Sultai will fall. We'll see it. We've seen it time and time again. I've been playing this fucking game since I was a kid. You know, there's going to be cards, right?
Until they ban Uro, I don't see blue green going anywhere. You know, it's going to stay on the top because that card is just so powerful. It's played in Legacy, it's played in Vintage, I believe. It's played in every format.
Yeah. Nissa too. Nissa's crazy.
This is good. Not as good though. It's still 5 mana.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still on the fence with that. I think you guys are right though. I think maybe Uro just has to be banned. It is really, really powerful, unless they like print something for every color combination for the other 9 guilds, right? Like as if they get something that's ridiculous, like Orzhov gets like when this enters exile any permanent, and then
draw card. Please no. Let's not make it more powerful. I would like the introduction of older cards to be meaningful, right? Like that's the good thing about it. Whereas like if you have Uro out, or like you make more powerful cards, than the introduction of like older cards from older sets, they're just going to be meaningless, right? Because they're going to be like, well, do I want to play Uro, or do I want to play this sweet ass card that was printed in 2001 that was really good until Uro was printed, you know?
Yeah, fucking power creep, man.
Yeah.
So
you did forget one thing that happened in Historic this year. Really important thing. We came out with this Historic podcast 5 months ago. God, where would Historic be without that? Come on.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, where would the format be if y'all didn't have these 3 ugly faces staring at you every week? Yeah. we have thrown it up through the forefront. Yeah, right. But yeah, cheers to that. This is I just want to say cheers again for us and our historic podcast, and thanks to all of you actually, because we were like commander centric, EDH centric. We're kind of like all over the place, but it seems like our fan base, our core fan base, like really love the historic thing, and we love it too. So thanks for putting us in that direction, and going forward, we want to keep going with that. So thank you all there. Cheers. And we'll go
Cheers.
on.
I wanted to add one last thing while we're looking back at historic, which was probably one of the fucking craziest things I think they did in the format, was when they tried to charge for 2 wild cards for a historic card.
Yeah.
That was insane, right?
They never actually went through with it. They
never did it.
Yeah. There was so much backlash, though. That's why.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. They never gave an explanation for it, right? Like, what were they thinking? Was it because they were trying to torpedo historic, or did they just think there was so much interest in historic that, or were they just trying to drive everything towards standard? Right? There was never an answer for that. They were like, "We're going to charge you double," and then everyone was like, "Fuck you," and they were like, "All right, fine."
Yeah.
No, we didn't say it. No.
It makes no sense though, right? Could you imagine paying 2 wild cards, like rare cards, for 1 card?
Totally crazy.
That's insane. That's insane.
No. They were just
That's
like
a niche format that you won't even give us like a queue for. Like,
yeah.
Right?
Fuck yourself. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. That's insane.
Oh man. Oh, Watsy. You have had a rough year, my friends.
Yeah.
And that's not even that's just historic, right? Like that doesn't even talk about like what they have done as a whole, like with the whole yeah.
I wish they would spend a little more time on historic and a little less time on secret layers. Like I wish they would move those resources over there, right? Because we have a secret layers like every fucking day, it feels like. And then you know, like when's the last time we actually had an historic anthology? It was a while ago. They came out with one like every few months. Yeah, in May. And now
the first one, it was like December, then it was March, and then May, and then nothing.
Yeah. Weird.
So, yeah, hopefully January we see a lot more with historic. I would love to see a lot more. I'm excited how Kaldheim is going to shake it up, but once again, can't stress this enough. We don't want too much happening, right? Like we want the format to develop and grow and become stable. That's what's important, stable and fun. So moving on, combat. So we've kind of like talked about some things, some very controversial things maybe in our main phase, but definitely this one is very controversial. Could be in a very positive or negative way, depending on like how you actually feel as historic as a whole. And this goes out to all of you watching or listening out there. Maybe we are on both sides of your corner in the ring. So what we have, Wizards introduced the historic shakeup on Arena. And what that essentially was like a event to play where they made their own ban list essentially, and they took out a lot of cards that make up a lot of the core of historic. Some were very odd choices, some were pretty obvious, and some they just straight up just left out and they didn't take out at all, which will be going forward. So personally, like for me, I just want to say, like, I didn't like the format at all. I didn't like playing this event. If they're going to make an event, I think they should have made it like better, as opposed to just get one win and get a cosmetic for one card that I don't even fucking care about. You know, like I thought they handled it pretty dumb, especially since it's the end of the year. They could have done like a really big event, knowing that historic is so big and so popular. They could have made this like a competitive queue, you know what I mean? Like, 5 wins, what they do with standard challenge, competitive challenge and stuff like that. So I think they handled this pretty silly. But Wizards has posted an article about this, but we're going to go like a little bit more in depth into it. So I'm going to go turn it over to Hoshi. Historic shakeup. What'd you think about it as a whole? What'd you think about the ban list? Let's just get all your thoughts out right now.
Yeah, so Historic Shakeup is it's this event that they had where they did additional bans. Basically, is they kept the historic format as a whole. They kept all the bans that they already had. They didn't unban anything, right? They just added more bans on top of it. And we've talked about in this podcast a few times about maybe Historic should have two different queues for it. One that's competitive and one that is non-competitive, right? Where they take out a lot of these cards like Uro and Muxus and those ones that like make it a turn 3, like you're dead, to allow for other types of archetypes to pop up, right? Like more jank stuff. Like we have a very deep card pool in Historic, right? And one of the problems with these powerhouse cards that come in, like Thoughtseize and all this other stuff, is they choke the shit out of those jank decks that like don't, have a chance to come about. So Historic Shakeup is kind of like what we were talking about, right? They got rid of a lot of the problem cards in there. So this was possibly like that queue that we were talking about, maybe like a jank queue, where they get rid of the super powerful cards, and they got rid of a lot of good ones. So if we go down the list here, they got rid of Agent of Treachery, that was already gone. They got rid of Bone Crusher Giant. I don't know if I think that is a super powerhouse card. It's very good, but I don't think it's problematic. Cauldron Familiar, it's annoying. Fuck that card. I just in Arena. In normal Magic, whatever, right? In Arena, I hate it. They got rid of Collected Company, which, yeah, it's a strong card. It sucks to see that go. I do like that card. They got rid of Ember Cleave, okay? Yeah, that's a strong card. No, Field of Dead already gone. Fires of Invention already gone. They got rid of Core Spirit Dancer. Yeah, that's definitely one of the tier 1 cards in the format right now. Very easy to make a deck with that card. They got rid of Llanowar Elves. Yeah, that speeds up the format. Huge, right? So that one's gone. Lotus Cobra. What? Who plays with Lotus Cobra? That was a weird one. I don't agree with taking out Lotus Cobra at all. I don't think that's a powerhouse card. They got rid of Muxus, which, yeah, thank you for that. Nexus of Fate was already gone. Oko, Thief of Crowns already gone. Omnath already gone. Once Upon a Time already gone. They got rid of Phyrexian Tower. Another one like Lotus Cobra. Why'd they get rid of that?
I mean, that one is played a lot, though. I do see it a lot. I see it in Goblins, and then I also see it in Black-Red sack decks, Black-Red X sack decks, because it is a sack outlet, right, that no one can touch, but, or it's hard to touch because it's a land.
Yeah. Okay, so I think in the Goblin deck, yeah, but the only reason that they play it in the Goblin deck is to put Muxus out faster, right? So if you're already banning Muxus, I don't know. I don't think that should be gone. Teferi Time Raveler is already gone. Thoughtseize, now that's a huge one. I fucking hate this card. I mean, there's nothing more like just disheartening than, your opponent goes first. Okay, well, maybe I still have a chance. Blackland, oh shit. Thoughtseize, fuck my life, right? So that card's gone. Torrential Gearhulk. What? It's a 6 mana card. It's good, right? But I don't think it's format destroying to where you need to take it out. Now, Ugin, rejoice, everyone who fucking hates this card. There's a ton of people that hate Ugin. It's very strong, right? So that one's gone. Uro, one of the ones that we all agree that should probably be banned. Yeah, that one's out of here. Veil of Summer already banned. Wilderness Reclamation, thank God, already banned. Winota, Joiner of Forces. I don't think that should still be banned. They should unban that. And then they got rid of Wrath. Card. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't think it's that super good. And then they got rid of Wrath of God, which is a good card, right? So my thoughts on this are, what the fuck? They got rid of some stuff. They got rid of Uro and Muxus, which was great to power down the format a lot. They didn't touch Nissa, and they didn't touch Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. They basically did nothing to Orzhov control, right? They got rid of Wrath of God, which you can easily sub in, Shatter the Sky with that. They didn't touch Narset Transcendent either, which is a awful card that stops you from drawing cards. They didn't touch Rakdos Sacrifice barely at all, which is a tier 1 deck in Historic. They did nothing to that except for Thoughtseize. They got rid of Thoughtseize. Other than that, they completely left that deck alone. They did absolutely nothing to Burn, which is also another tier 1 deck in Historic. How about Light Up the Stage? Can we get rid of that, please, for this format? That card has been busted and in every single mono red deck basically, besides goblins since it came out, right? Every burn deck has that. So I think they missed the point. It shows that they have no idea what the fuck is going on in historic, like we talked about, right? They were like, oh, people don't like Sultai, so we'll get rid of Thoughtseize and we'll get rid of Uro. People don't like Muxus, we'll get rid of that. Let's get Lotus Cobra. What? They're just getting rid of like weird random cards. They did get rid of some of the problematic ones, Core Spirit Dancer, but then they left a bunch of fucking crazy shit in there. So I don't know. That's my thought. Hoof, what do you think?
And that's Reddit Rant with Hoshi.
Let it be known that thank God that Hoshi is not in control of R&D or bannings or anything. He's like, don't like this card, it's good. Don't like this card, it's good.
It is. So it's a historic shakeup. Experience that. So basically, they're saying some of the most played cards in historic. The thing is, nobody knows what the numbers are actually, right? The farthest we can get is the MTG assistant, and that is only goes off people who are using it. So most people who use MTG assistant are probably people who like know a lot more about Magic in general, right? So the thing is, like, they could be seeing numbers that like we aren't potentially seeing. Like maybe in like I don't know what the lowest level of constructed is of historic, but it could be like, I think it's bronze. But there could be a lot of people playing with cards like these ones that you don't see as often, like Lotus Cobra, and I don't even know some of the other one. Yeah, Lotus Cobra is weird. I agree, but. Like
Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah, Torrential Gearhulk. There's another one. Like they could be seeing numbers that just we don't know about, and that's what I'm assuming here. And they're just kind of out of touch with like their community as well, right? Which is another, like, that is a misstep on them. Because like you can't really play a viable Sultai deck, and you can't really play a viable Gruul deck. But you can still play Burn, which is like a deck you see often, right? Like I do play against that, and you can play some other strategies, right? I don't know. I did feel like they missed the mark a little bit. I think what they could have potentially done is ban some stuff, unbanned other things, just to see, right? But they didn't. They only banned things. That's true. Yeah, overall, I had fun because I have some pretty janky decks that I play with, and this didn't affect any of them, and my decks are already pretty good. I feel like my janky ones, as far as jank goes, and they did perfectly well in the historic shakeup. So, I liked it. I didn't come across a shit ton of Nissas or other things, I just played against other shitty jank decks that weren't Uro decks, which felt wonderful.
And you know what? I came across those decks too. Like I did not come across Nissa at all, but I have Mono Blue Tempo. I've played that for years. I've played that like since Return to Ravnica with Mono Blue Devotion Tempo. I've played that variant. I don't want to play it. I have Mono White Life Gain, or Mono White Prison. I've played it. I've played it. Like I've done that, like I don't want to play those decks again. I could play them in historic already. So I want to shake it up, right? I want to play a deck that is jank that isn't being played. So I played my Gruul Electrostatic Pummeler deck. And what do I play? Mono Black Control, like fucking Phyrexian Obliterator, kill all my things. And then he's just spamming good game. And I'm like, I'm not out of this yet, and then he's just like, Gray Merchant, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I can't do anything, and then as soon as I get Electrostatic Pummeler down, he just like waits, and then Fatal pushes it, and I'm like, cool, dude, and then I'm like, all right, well, whatever, I'll try again. And then what do I play? Mono White Life Gain. Oh wow, real shaking it up there, bud. A Johnny's Pride Mate with Basari and just gaining life, and then Soul Sisters. I'm like, dude, this is not. I hated it. I absolutely hated this format. I hated this event or whatever. Did not like it.
Sounds like you wanted more bans, actually. Yeah, because they did. That's a good point. They didn't touch Mono Black, which is not that big of a thing. But Mono White Life Gain is all over the place, and they did nothing to that too. I didn't even think of that. That's true.
Now, I did not want more bans. I wanted more crucial bans. Like, like once again, like Drunken is correct. Like Lotus Cobra, maybe there is some numbers there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But without Omnath, what is Lotus Cobra really abusing? Nothing. Like I cannot see anything in Magic that Lotus Cobra is abusing. They should have really taken their time and they could have really made like a niche meta, right? Like they could have made a really unique meta with this, like where Gruul Static is like the Gruul deck or Mono White Prison, because I think that's why Bone Crusher was taken out, because that stops 9 lives and Solemnity combo, because it damage can't be prevented. But then they should have taken out Questing Beast, right? Like they could have done that, to really like make this unique meta, and they could have taken advantage of something, and they didn't. But sorry to interrupt, but what were you going to say, Hosh?
No, that's great. No, those are good points that you made. I agree with Drunken too, that like I think it was fun. I did actually I've been playing this almost like exclusively because you did run into the white life gain. I have not actually, and I complained about them not banning Nissa and Teferi. I have not run into them. I've run into a ton of jank on there. So I was actually having a pretty good time on there. But just looking at the list, I'm infuriated, because it just, like you were saying, it seems like they're not doing the accurate bans that they should. They're banning things that they shouldn't ban, and they're not banning things that they should ban. Right. So, but I like that the historic community jumped into this and grabbed their jank decks and were like, we're going in. Right. And then, I mean, unfortunately, Apollo, with your luck, it seems like you ran into the guys that were like, oh, I got mono blue and I got mono white, and they didn't ban a single card out of that one. So I'm going to play that.
Mono white, mono blue, and mono red.
And mono red.
Yeah.
Mono black. They did nothing.
Mono black. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Out of all those, though, mono white, I think, is probably the most powerful in best of one historic. Yeah,
for sure.
And that's funny that you say that, because I did run against mono white, and it murdered me. So
it's super powerful.
Yeah, it's a really good deck.
In the normal queue. Yeah, it murders in the normal queue for sure.
I think Wizards dropped the ball on this for sure.
Yeah, I feel like they gave this to one dude. They were like, "Hey, John, do a historic shakeup thing," and he's like, fuck."
Yeah, they gave it to John the intern. They're like, "All right, John the intern, here you go. You got one job," and he's probably out. He's gone now.
Like, you piece of shit. No one likes this.
God damn it, John! This is the last time.
Well, I googled most hated cards in Magic, and like I'm sure that's what he did. He just went in alphabetical order, and it was just like Agent of Treachery, Bone Crusher Giant. Like it just seems like such a mishposh, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Torrential Gearhulk was really hated at one time. It's not right now, but at one time it was a super powerful card in the format, right?
And standards passed,
maybe you're onto something. Maybe he was just like, each of the most hated cards in each of these. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, Lotus Cobra goes good with Omnath, and it's like, dude, Omnath, it's already gone, dumb. Like what? Why are you getting rid of these weird cards?
Yeah, he's like, ooh, I'm really gonna mix it up. I'm gonna ban Omnath and Lotus Cobra. It's like, wait a second.
Of course,
Omnath's already gone.
Let's destroy auras. Like one of the most I thought auras like Boggle style was the most like coolest climb to tier 1, right? Like here's a deck that came out of nowhere, finally gets up to tier 1, and then Watsy's like, nah, fuck you. We're gonna get rid of Core Spirit Dancer, but not touch mono white at all. Like let's not touch mono white life gain. Well, white doesn't get anything. It's like, well, just take out a Johnny's Pride Mate or something or Soul Systems.
Boggles is still good in this format. I played Boggles, but they were using Shram. And it was still good. I still lost to it. It's still a good deck. Yeah, it's just not ridiculous anymore. Yeah.
I don't know. Any final thoughts for a historic shakeup?
I just wish they did a better job.
I enjoyed it. I want to see more stuff like this with different bans or different unbans. Like I think they're going in the right direction, honestly. Yeah, maybe this one was a little bit off mark, but I think it's cool. I think they need to do this more often. I liked it in standard. I like it in historic.
So, yeah, I guess like a step in the right direction would be for them to actually analyze people's comments and opinions about this. And then, if not saying a permanent side queue of historic, but maybe like an event like when Historic Brawl would come out, whenever they decided to do it, if they had this like permanent kind of list that they're kind of like working towards, and then boom, oh, the historic shakeup's back again, and we just added 2 more cards to it, or whatever, or we decided to take out this card, this and that and the other. Then that way, like a meta gets defined for that format. And then it makes you want to like use wild cards or commons, uncommons, and rares that you probably wouldn't. Hey, it gets you money, Watsy. Like use your brain there on that one. So yeah, in the future, I hope they like take this a little bit more seriously and then make this like a really cool, solid event in the future, but take your time on it. So with that, we're going to go into our main phase 2, my most beloved game ever, the horseshit card game. Yay. Let's turn it over to Drunken Dork. He's going to tell us how we're going to play.
All right, Hoshi. First, I want to say the time old saying, if you didn't see it, it didn't happen. You weren't here last week, so as far as you know, Michael didn't win.
That's true. I mean, I don't know.
All right.
Schroeder's cat, dude. I mean, if you don't view it, it doesn't exist. Yeah, I mean that is
true. I mean, I was in jail, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you were in drunk jail,
through Mississippi and shit. Like,
all right. So everybody, this is the horseshit card game where I open up a pack of cards. I pick out 3 of them, and then I have 1 fake card. And it's up to these 2 drunken idiots to figure out which one of those cards is fake. So, while I'm opening this, you two feel free to talk shit about each other or me or, whatever.
Oh, man. So, where do I start? That beanie, dude. What is going on?
Yeah.
After 1. What is up with that beanie? No. Oh, man. Hoshi, I have I would like to say I have a good feeling about this, but deep in my heart, I know I'm not going to win. I know it.
I'm so glad I wasn't here when you won. Oh, so this is great though. So for the last 2 weeks, when my girlfriend's been watching it, she likes to see what you vote on, and then she votes the opposite of what you vote.
Oh yeah, and she has more wins than me now.
Yeah. So the last thing I didn't realize it till the last time because I paused the episode before like you gave your opinion, and she was like, "Wait, I want to see what Apollo picks first, so I can pick what's different."
That's great.
Nice.
Okay.
Dude, I thought really hard on that last one, dude.
Yeah, you did.
No, you did good though. You got it. And it's funny. I think pretty much every time that it's just been you and I, you have gotten. We exaggerate, of course, on here, and Apollo, he's gotten 1 or 2. But I don't know what it is. I think I just take it easy on you because I sympathize, man. You got to get a win in your life every once in a while, right?
Yeah. You need that dubs, dude.
Yeah.
You need that dubs.
All right, y'all.
True. Fun.
Oh,
yeah.
Go.
No. All my wins have been when Hoshi has been on his bootleg adventures. So
yeah. All right, y'all ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So my first card is. Let me turn this light on. Sorry. All right, my first card is Thwart the Grave. It is 4 black. It is a sorcery at uncommon. And it says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Return target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. All right. Next one is Scale the Heights. It is 2 and a green. It is a sorcery at common. It says put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. You gain 2 life. You may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card. All right. The third card is Tazim Raptor. It is 2 and a white. It is a creature bird at common. As flying. When Tazim Raptor enters the battlefield, you may return a land you control to its owner's hand, and it is a 2/2. All right. The final card is Merfolk Visionary. It is 2 and a blue. It is a creature Merfolk wizard. When Merfolk Visionary enters the battlefield, target player mills X cards, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Oh, and it is a 2/2. So let's start it off with the guy we had to pull out of jail here. Hoshi, what do you got? Is there
the second one was called what? Scale the Heights?
Scale the Heights.
I'll go with that one.
Scale the Heights, it is.
Can you read Scale the Heights? Because that one was a little suspect to me.
Put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. You gain 2 life. You may put an additional land. You may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card.
How much does it cost?
2 and a green.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's bullshit. 3 mana. That's doing a lot of things.
Jumping on the Hoshi bandwagon, huh? Look at this.
Now, if you can only see in my mind, I thought that card was horseshit, but yeah.
I'm glad I can't see in your mind, by the way. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it does.
A bunch of pain and anguish.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, this week, you did pretty good because... Well, you didn't actually. I lied. You both failed terribly because the card is it's Merfolk Visionary, the 2 and a blue creature Merfolk wizard. Yeah, when Merfolk Visionary enters the battlefield, target player mills X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. That is not a real card. What?
There's a 3 mana green spell that lets you put a +1/+1 counter, draw a card, play an additional land.
Yeah.
And something else.
Yeah, and it's at common. Yeah, you gain 2 life, yeah.
What?
I can hold it up right here. Let me turn the slide off.
Is it a sorcery or?
Yeah, it is a sorcery.
It is a sorcery. I have never seen anyone play that. That seems decent for, especially for a common. That sounds like it should be.
Dude, 3 mana does all the things. Like,
all right,
wow.
Uro does.
All right.
Wow. I do want to show you my rare because it is a good one.
Okay.
Oh, nice,
dude.
Nice.
Yeah, so for all of you listening, Seagate Stormcaller. It's a great card. It'll be fun to play in maybe Commander. In Tiny Leaders, it sounds like a great card. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
But that was the horseshit card game. I won.
Oh.
You know, which happens so all too often. Well, actually, no, that doesn't happen all too often. But what does happen all too often is Apollo lost again.
Yeah. Starting to get calloused by that, man. It's not even affecting me anymore.
Yeah. That's important. I don't believe that you did that you've ever won.
Really, behind Apollo's camera and monitor and everything, there's like marks in the wall. You know, like how many times he's lost. He fucking digs it in
like red marker. And it's like, all losses, no wins makes Apollo a crazy boy or something.
Yeah.
You know? It's just all like very serial killer behind my monitor here.
Yes.
That's great, dude.
That is the horseshit card game. What'd you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Did you get the card right? Most likely you did. Or were you wrong, like I am every single week? And what a historic shakeup, because Hoshi lost as well. Very surprising.
Yeah,
so, but benefit of that is that Drunken got his win, and it's been a while, I think.
I haven't won in a long time. Yeah.
Good job. Good job, Drunken.
So good job for that. And we're approaching the end, so we just want to let you guys know, if you guys enjoy what you guys have seen or heard, please give us a follow, give us a subscription, click that bell notification if you're already subscribed, and we really do appreciate all that you guys have done for this. And with that, we're going to go into our end step, and that is where we just talk about other shit we've been doing this week. So Hoshi, I'll turn it over to you. What other shit have you been doing this week?
Oh man, I have been working on my house. I have 2 tree stumps that I need to burn out. So I've been like digging up my yard, trying to dig under the tree stump. I'm gonna do a stump burn in. Have you ever seen somebody burn a tree stump before?
No.
No, I suggest you look at the YouTube videos. They're fucking cool. It's a bunch of rednecks trying to burn tree stumps, and some of them are pretty hilarious. Some of them they're just like dumping gasoline and oil and stuff, and they're just dumping it on the top of the tree stump. And they're like, I don't know, it's not burning. And they're like throwing entire trees basically on top of it, right? And they're barely burning any of it. And then the comments are amazing underneath that because they're like, you fucking idiot. You need fire burns up. You know, you need to burn it from the bottom. So there's some great ones. So I'm trying to like dig underneath a couple of these because I had this giant oak tree in my backyard that got cut, and like, dude, it's massive. So I'm like, how am I going to get rid of this fucking thing? They're going to charge me like thousands of dollars to get rid of this stump. Or I could stump grind it, but that just flattens it. It doesn't get rid of it. And so if I build a driveway on top of that, it's going to rot, and then my driveway is going to fall into it. So I got to get rid of the thing. So yeah. So I've been digging.
Nice. You're turning more into a Floridian every time I talk to you. I bet you're out there with your like I love America shirt, drinking PBR, brother, and throwing gasoline on a tree stump and digging holes.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Hey, brother, hold my beer.
Hold my beer, babe. I gotta dig this hole right quick. No, no offense to anyone that loves digging up tree stumps out there in the South. So
we're gonna get you, motherfucker.
Sure, Drunken. What other show have you been doing this week?
Nothing exciting. Still Cyberpunk. That fucking shit is so dope, man. I beat the game. And then I started a new game. Like you can't beat it. You can't beat the game, but I beat the main story along with like a lot of the major side stories. And then I just started another character because I wanted to see what it'd be like to play as a female and like the different types of interactions. And yeah, the game's really good. I've been losing a lot of sleep playing it. My wife probably hates it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Yeah, and then dealing with, same house stuff. Still dealing with this flood situation in my basement. It's like a crack in the foundation that like is flooding.
Oh,
Not the foundation, the walls of my basement. So yeah, trying to patch that up, but you can't really patch that stuff up until it dries. But anyway, yeah, it's hard to dry something out when it's still raining all the time. Hence, that's Seattle for you. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, for myself, Cyberpunk, lots of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, you have.
I love Cyberpunk, man. That is such an amazing game. One night I was playing, and then I realized how late it was. It was like 3-4 in the morning. I was like, oh yikes.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Dude, I like go on this like side quest, and then like what's cool about the side quest is it isn't very side questy. It actually like really gets you really immersed.
Yeah.
And you finish one, and when you're in the area, something else that like correlates to what you've done is like in the next area. Like, oh, since you did that right over here, check this thing out, not to like spoil anything. So, and then I'm like, oh, well, I want to do that, and then like you go and do that. Right. And then they're so unique and diverse. Like they're not just like running guns, especially with like the builds you can do. Like I'm doing a Kill Bill katana build. So I'm like,
that's tight.
Samurai, man. Like I am not stealth at all. I am just like just running in there with the katana and just slicing up fools.
That's tight.
Oh, it's badass.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, love the game. As I've stated many times, Final Fantasy 14 is my MMO. I love that as well, and I really do want to like finish the last parts of the last expansion of Shadowbringers, because that was one of the most important expansions of Final Fantasy, and actually what made Final Fantasy 14 as popular as it is. It won like it got like 9 out of 10 for which is unheard of for an MMO, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, pretty much that's it. And then my lease is ending, so getting ready to pack up and move stuff out.
Oh.
Yeah. Gonna man. I got my spot right with the train tracks right over there, man.
Nice.
Dude, it's gonna start a fire every night. Stay warm on the rocks. It's gonna be sweet. Nice. No, my brother's getting a new place, and Air Force is coming pretty soon. So I'm hoping everything kind of ties in pretty quickly because lease is ending, and I'm hoping with these final steps that I get to go and take my future with that. So that is it. That is our end step. Now we're going to go into our cleanup and discard. Cleanup is just social media promo. So you can now find us at Mana Rant, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you see us on YouTube. You can also look us up at the Mana Dorks. That is still a searchable term, but be wary. There's a lot of Mana Dorks out there, so it'd probably just be best to just look up the Mana Rant. You can also follow us on Instagram at the Mana Dorks Podcast, where we post funny memes. It's all Magic related, and it's pretty hilarious as well. And our individual Instagrams, if that's your kind of thing, you want to give us a follow, you can follow me at Michael Butler Bro, that's BROH, Hoshi at Super Houston, Drunken Dork at Drunken Dork. And with that, we go into our discard where we finish whatever we've been drinking. And, with that, once again, fuck you 2020. We love you all out there. Thank you so much for the support. Yeah. And we'll see you all next season. Take care, everyone.
See you next year.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, man. Pounding coffee. Yikes.
Oh, my God. That's a smoked beer. That was so gross.
Ugh.
I do not like smoked beer.
Dude, oh, shit.